Here, welcome back to the Smell of Logic channel. I am Ramona, and today's Reddit video is going to be what's something you secretly judge people for, even though you know it makes you a bit of an asshole. I suppose asshole is in the eye of the beholder, but here we go. Ready? I'm going to read some of these and see what you think. When you're not controlling their kids in public, I know it's difficult being a parent and the lack of sleep and burnout is real, but goddamn, do I hate when kids do that screeching thing they sometimes do. Oh, yes. Yes, that's pretty awful. Yeah, you should tell your kids not to be little assholes. Let's see. Telling disabled people on Reddit not to have children. If I write long articles about that on my Reddit page, that's only going to make me look like another big a-hole. I am very judgmental towards people who use Reddit to talk down to the disabled. If they have more than 4 kids. Barely anyone in this country, and I'm assuming they mean America, can reliably raise that many children, and most still end up not being good parents because they spread themselves too thin. Right, moving on from the children, here we go, ready? Having bad teeth. I know, it just happens to some people, but still. I really hate people seeing people with rotted out mouth. It's disgusting. I just don't want to be close enough to smell that. Someone says, I try and give people the benefit of the doubt on this one. The dentist is expensive. But great dental hygiene, in the meantime, is critical. Most people don't know that rotting teeth simply didn't care for their oral hygiene. You'd be surprised how many people think it's okay to not brush daily or floss regularly. Brushing and flossing mouthwash are the key to preventative measures to prevent cavities and rotting teeth. It takes a lot of neglect to have rotting teeth, where there are telltale signs of months to years. But yes, the dentist is very expensive and considered a luxury even. So there's your public service announcement for today. Bad driving. It's kind of an asshole move on my part because my driving is just as bad, if not worse at times. We all speed or cut people off by accident sometimes, but there's definitely a subconscious bias of believing it's fine when you do it and deplorable when someone else does it. A mother who leaves young children home a lot and goes out and travels a lot. And someone replied with, I bet you don't judge fathers who do that. How about just parents in general who do that? People who are mushy close to their family members because I don't have that. People with long nails, mostly men, sorry. People who smoke cigarettes. Being uneducated. In the year 2025, with smartphones and nearly unlimited knowledge to a few taps away in your pocket, it just makes me think the person has no common sense. How can anyone just blindly trust something they are told or hear without checking for sources and researching themselves? I don't know if it makes me elitist, honestly. Even most people experience homelessness have phones. And someone replied with, I work retail and it baffles me how many people ask the dumbest shit when they could have just spent 5 seconds looking it up and solving their own problems. Expecting me to go gaga over your dog. Like, sorry, no, move it away from me. I don't want my leg licked. Wearing clothes that only emphasizes, how fat they are. I don't care if you're fat. But if you have to wear skin-tight leggings and a crop top, do you have to wear skin-tight leggings and a crop top with all of your rolls to show? You know, I'm a rather large person, and I completely agree with that statement. You don't have to wear a muumuu, but holy crap, dudes. There's a lot of chicks I see. Oh, dudes, too. Dudes aren't as bad, honestly. A lot of chicks I see that want to show off their assets. Unfortunately, that's not all they're showing off. People who go out drinking, and I mean, it's all they want to effing do. Once in a while with friends, sure, of course, but you want to go out and get drunk every time they hang out? Like people make drinking their personality at that point, and you can't even hold a proper conversation with these certain individuals without them having a little buzz. It's like, why am I actually talking to the real you? I get that a lot where I live. There's not much to do. So that is pretty much the after work, weekend, day off hobby is going out and drinking. Right now, there's also a lot of marijuana use too, but it kind of goes hand in hand because, most of them do both. But yeah, it's like that's their only outlet, and that's all they ever want to do, and it's kind of disturbing. If they don't read anything other than the text messages or social media. I'll get jumped on for this, however, the thick small town Massachusetts accent makes me want to get away. I associate it with many other bad things, rudeness, profanity, etc. Tattoos and vaping. People who are okay with their kids throwing a tantrum or being a nuisance in public. I know some kids have special needs. I know some have behavioral problems. I still can't help but look at them weird when it happens, though. It's almost like a natural instinct for me to be annoyed. Everything, if we're being truthful. Women who exclusively read smut, like 300 pages of fairy porn with no plot, and have an issue with their partner watching porn. You can get it online and talk about the wet dream you had about Prince Xander Darkshade and form a parasocial relationship with a fictional character. But if your dude looks at another pair of... he's a monster. Also, for the love of God, read something with substance. I can't stand a badly pressed shirt. I feel bad for people who can't iron properly. Yes, I am that shallow. Lack of accountability. It's considered mature nowadays not to take responsibility for your bad actions and blame someone else for it. Like the innocent party is supposed to sacrifice their good reputation so your reputation could remain untouched. Being really bad students. Like, we're talking about getting less than 20% on tests consistently. I remember a classmate of mine was always sleeping in class while admitting that he was going to sleep at 3 to 4 a.m. And every test they would get around 10 to 20%, and they paid almost no attention in class, asking the same thing 3 or 4 times. Yeah, that's a responsibility issue there. I don't understand that, but hey. Confrontationally political shirts. And I appreciate that that means, on all sides. Remember, guys, sort my controversial for the real answers. Dirty shoes and dirty fingernails. People who have never had a boyfriend or girlfriend. I know it makes me an asshole, but I consider that a red flag if they are in their late 20s or older. I really consider that a red flag considering how awful people have become lately. Maybe they're just smarter than the rest of us. Letting their kids sit on public dirty floors and pavements generally makes me feel sick. I've seen people hack up spit onto them and piss, and little Tommy is just going to town licking his fingers after just having touched the floor. Listening to gangster rap, especially where I live. We don't have any gangsters here. When they immediately have kids and get pregnant in less than a year of them getting married. Oh my God, enjoy your time as husband and wife before committing to having kids, please. Fat people who use motorized scooters at grocery stores are handicapped parking. The car you drive. I will be clear. I don't care if you have a Porsche or a Kia. If the thing isn't maintained, if you drive around on bald tires, or if you have unrepaired damage, the car is dirty, bubbling tint, whatever, I will think less of you. It's not hard to maintain a car. It's a fucking weapon. Keep the fucking thing in good condition. Yeah, that's definitely a controversial one right there. People who let their dog bark and bark and bark. Grammar. Bad appearance. Stuff like matted hair, uncontrolled acne just rubs me the wrong way, but I do my best to ignore these thoughts. Mouth breathers. People who give their kids I don't know what this means, certain names like McKinley or Jackson, and it's spelled with, extra K's and N's and Y's and E's and X's. You might think the name is cute when they're a kid, but it's going to be kind of odd when they're in their 60s. I remember people saying that. Remember back when I was a lass, and back in the 80s, they were making fun of all the grandmas that were going to be named Tiffany and Stephanie and stuff like that. But I think it's a generational thing. I do agree with the extra letters in the names that don't necessarily have to be there. It's for one thing, the poor kid is going to have to constantly be spelling their name, constantly be explaining why their name has that many extra letters or whatever. You may think it's cute as a parent, you may think it's important, but when you name your kid, you really need to think about how it's going to affect them later on in life and in schools and in jobs when no one can spell their name correctly, or worse, pronounce it correctly. Not using proper grammar always. Occasional typos are fine and expected, but typing IKU ain't got goes to no school is ARF. I hope I pronounced that correctly. People who wear a watch but check their time on their phone. I get it. You dressed up and wore a watch as part of an outfit, even though you're usually bare-wristed. Watchless, shaking your carpals in public, whatever. But if you have a watch, use it. Yeah, I've seen tons of people do this. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying. Uh-oh. Here's a personal attack on me. Crocs. I'm joking, it's not really a personal attack. Buying a lot of crappy pre-made food. Like if I see a grocery store buggy with only artificial juice, boxed mac and cheese, canned soup, without anything you could actually call fresh and perishable. I buy and use those too, but it's the only thing you're feeding your kids. Yeah, I'm judgy. Totally. I agree with that. Because I work in a grocery store, so I see that a lot. Women with long artificial fingernails, but it doesn't make me an asshole. People who have several kids, all with different moms and dads. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm not touching that one. I know I shouldn't, but I always judge people's tattoos. I'm sorry, not everyone should be a tattoo artist because they can't always do a good job. When I see a bad one, I silently judge and say to myself, it looks awful, especially face and neck tattoos. I always think they look awful. I know it's wrong with me to judge someone for a tattoo. It's their body, and everyone is free to do with what they want, or at least they should be. But it's my opinion that a lot of tattoos people have just look terrible. Their shoes. See, that's an original one. I mean, there's two schools of thought on that one. I'm always reminded of the Shawshank comment. No one ever looks at shoes, but then I've always heard that well, you can tell a lot about a person by their shoes. So I don't know. I guess maybe the world is divided into two different groups there: people who look at the shoes and people who don't. Poor judgment when dating. How do they not see the red flags? And then they're going to cry about exactly how you think it should go. I shouldn't judge, but I do. Crooked teeth. And this is really the kettle calling the pot black. I have perfectly arranged teeth, never had braces, but they are weak, heat sensitive, cold sensitive, sweet sensitive. I always criticize myself for doing it. I am very psychoanalytic, so I judge people based on their body language, the tone of their voice, and how they choose to word themselves. But above all, I harshly judge people on whether or not they do as they say. I even do this as my own self. We do not get along at all. People who say they hate animals. Like, yeah, people have preferences, so I know it's wrong to judge, but it just screams psychopath to me. When they don't even attempt to park in between the lines. I don't know what their story is, but I want to know who signed off on giving them their driver's license. People being overly sensitive about pronouns and describe themselves in long speeches of cis, this plus that. I don't care what they say your name is and move on. Nobody is that important. The cleanliness of their fingernails. Dirty fingernails make me want to dry heave, but I'm aware of certain occupations that can stain them, so this is a bad umbrella to judge it. But at the same time, I can't help my visceral reaction. How clean your house is. Sorry, but have some effing pride in your belongings. Not high end, just keep it clean and tidy. People who don't put in effort to look good. You don't have to be a super sophisticated Sam every day, but do something more personal than your gray sweats, gym shorts, and thrift store t-shirt with grubby sneakers every day. Effort, please. Women with artificial eyelashes big enough to cause a tornado. You look so much better without them. People who don't even attempt to spell correctly or use proper punctuation. It makes you look like a complete idiot. It makes me doubt everything you say. People who buy dogs that shouldn't have been bred. Double merles and fluffy Frenchies and the like. I love all dogs, and it's not fair, and it's not their fault, but man, have we failed them. People who put pineapple on pizza. I'll second that notion, including my husband, sorry. I know, this makes me a bad person, but people who are morbidly obese. I'm curvy too, don't get me wrong. The people who can barely walk. Their stomach hangs down to their knees. That show My 600-Pound Life disgusts me. I know some might be legit medical conditions. It's probably because my mother, who was like 400 to 500 pounds, would drink and do drugs and pass out on the floor because no one was able to pick her up, even if they were multiple people. She would look like a beached whale. She never did anything to try and help herself with her weight, just complained and ate more junk food. I do understand in some ways how it happens. I judge silently. I never say anything to anyone because of this. I have an acute sense of smell. Most people are nose blind to how excessive their use of perfume is. Worse, much worse, still is smelling like detergent. It shocks me how many people walk past daily who smell like a laundromat. Actually, I don't mind that part. The perfume and the cologne really do bother me because I have a very acute sense of smell as well. So it does bother me. But honestly, I love the smell of laundry detergent. Most laundry detergent, let's be fair. I'd rather have people smell like that than perfume, personally. That's my own thing, though. Yeah. When people try to relate to me, who is a parent of multiple children, by telling me how tired they are because they have a cat or how stressed they are because they have to take their dog to preschool. I didn't know dog preschool was a thing. That's interesting. Only knowing one language and making fun of those who speak multiple. I didn't know that was a thing either. White socks with black shoes. Lack of financial literacy. For example, I knew somebody who got a full ride to college and still ended up taking out, oh my God, $27,000 in loans entirely because of vacations, partying, DoorDash, keeping up with the Joneses. Holy crap, I couldn't imagine doing that. People who give sugar to their young kids or junk food in general. When they are obsessed with astrology and make their sign their whole personality. I have known many, many people throughout my life that did that, including one guy I dated. Yeah. Unfortunate looking people. I try to be respectful to everyone, but if you're ugly and smell badly, I can't look at you. I'll just look past or away. Well, that's okay. It's not really their fault sometimes. I think the smelly part might be, but people who bike in the middle of the road. Indecisive, timid driving, especially the 40-mile-per-hour brigade. Hearing people go on and on about their grandchildren, accomplishments, sports, cutesy things. I'm not a grandparent, and maybe never will be, but they lose me after just a few seconds. Oh, this one has a list. Ready? Eating fast food, being smugly child-free and expecting to never make space for a child's age-appropriate behavior ever. Parents who hand their cell phones to their kids in restaurants, especially if the sound is on. Fake nails. Creative names and name spellings. The notion that growing up in a single-parent household is equivalent to a two-parent household. Influencers. And lastly, Philadelphia sports fans. Wow. So there you go. We're going to end that video there. I'm probably going to do another one because there's quite a few here, and some of these are amusing, and it's good to have something amusing to, spend your time on. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, maybe leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, share this video or any of the other videos if you find something you think somebody else would like. Also, if you're interested, go check out my Amazon authors page. There's coloring books, there's novels, there's all kinds of weird stuff over there. Coloring books released every Monday, so there's new stuff there. And again, thank you for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.